It may have happened a couple of off seasons ago, and it shouldn't have taken me this long to get here. But we are finally today going to get the matchup of Skubal v. Skenes here, going up against our division rival St. Louis Cardinals. Skubal is the highest overall player that has been signed in our division in this series so far. Skubal has continued to be excellent since being signed by the Cards. He's had his highest ERAs so far since 2022 so far this season, but still excellent numbers from him. And, you know, this offense really struggled against high-quality pitchers when it came to the playoffs last season. And today we get to see if maybe some of the changes we've made have potentially changed that. Now, Skenes, who will be pitching for us today, is currently on a cold streak so far this year. Not doing all that great. This would be easily his worst season with us should it continue. And looking at what he's doing here, I'm not really seeing it's a 3.45 FIP, so it looks like the fielding is failing him a bit on the season. Could just be small sample size. Of course, only 55 innings. Not the smallest of samples, but certainly not the biggest one either. I think it's big enough to make some changes, which is what we're going to do here ahead of this game. Buford Kingman has been absolutely awful for us in his first 152 at-bats of the season. Well below the Mendoza line, just barely above 500 OPS. I said Pedro Ponce, all he needed was an opportunity. He hasn't been playing amazing so far this season, but I think it's time to promote Pedro Ponce and have him playing over in the left field. And we're going to use an option here on Buford Kingman, hopefully to get him back on track so that he can potentially come back later up this season. If not, maybe just try again next year with Buford. But hasn't been going well. Our outfield kind of in general hasn't been playing all that well. Victor Robles is certainly more back to what he was showing in his first season in Pittsburgh than last year. A little bit better than his first season, but not by much. Joe Adell is currently on a cold streak right now. His OPS is hovering just above 700. Brian Reynolds is still playing awesome, though, as I kind of predicted at the start of the season, despite him playing awesome and actually having a higher OPS than even his monster season last year, his numbers are going down. That's just more age-related. But Pedro Ponce will make his MLB debut today in this star-studded pitching matchup. Let's get into it now. Finally, gonna see Skubal play for the Cardinals here on the road in St. Louis. Taking a look here at Pedro Ponce for the first time in a Pirates uniform. Of course, we saw him play just last episode for AAA. Talked about how I thought he was MLB ready, just needed the opportunity. The opportunity is now as we take a look at the top Pittsburgh Pirates prospects, which Pedro Ponce isn't even on. He's right at number 11, so just off this list. But very much so excited to see what he can do with his first impression in the black and gold here. Fink went around that, so we'll start this game off with a strikeout and make it back-to-back. Adell hitting way up in the lineup against left-handed pitching now. Reynolds hitting just below 300 on the season. This one is back for a home run. Not going to strike out the side here in the first inning. Reynolds going to come through for us with his 11th homer of the season. Another strong start for the veteran leader of this squad. And the Pirates are aboard here in the top of the first inning. That'll bring up Albert Sweetie, hitting in the mid-200s, right at 265. And you can't really Hit it more directly at the center fielder than that. Can we get Skenes out of a cold stretch here in this game as well? Would love to see him have a strong start. Going up against Josh Smith. I think this is an offense that he can kind of bounce up with a good game. This isn't the most potent offense in all of baseball by any means. It's not a bad one necessarily either. But Mason Wynn will reach here with a single cutting through that right infield there. Rengifo, a chopper, diving is Triolo, but not able to glove it. Back-to-back singles for the Cardinals. And they've got a scoring opportunity to try and tie this game back up. Spencer Torkelson, another one of their bigger free agent acquisitions. Down swinging for the first punch out of the day for Paul Skenes. Now an out away for being able to get through this inning unscathed. Herrera lifts it deep to right, giving chases Robles, and he got there for the third out. Into the second now. Jan lifts one to center field, and Bader tracks it down for the first out. First at-bat in the career of Pedro Ponce. As you can see, 8 pitches in the at-bats. Ultimately going to go down on a fly-out, but a great battle against a really talented pitcher in his first ever Major League at-bat. This one's also going to be a pitch popped up, an inning of fly-outs only for the Pirates in the second. Score remains 1-0 now. Skenes against Sanchez here. This is left floating a bit. And that's going to get down for a hit in the outfield. And sliding into second safely for a lead-off double for Jesus Sanchez. His 5th here early on in the season. This pitch gets by Jan. Down in the dirt. And now Sanchez will advance to third. I'll call it a wild pitch here, but a runner on third, no outs. That's going to be a 102 high heat fastball by O'Neill. 2-2. Lifted by Walker. Robles has a strong arm in right, and Sanchez isn't even going to test it. So now Skenes, all he needs to do is get the out here. And he gets through another inning unscathed, and there you have it. He's allowing some hits here. Runners are getting in scoring position, but of course he has that excellent pitching clutch, showing it off early on in this game. Robles make it the second solo homer of the game. That one was absolutely blasted by the right fielder, 452 feet. Make it 7 home runs for Robles on the season. Showing off some decent power for a guy who's got his power in the 50s. 2-2 pitch. Triolo chops it over to third. The throw will not be accurate. Triolo reaches via error. Back to the top of the order. Fink. He struck out his first at-bat, but this one finds its way through the infield. And we've got runners on first and second now for Joe Adell. He's got some serious power against lefties. Got a breaking ball left high and smashes it into the upper decks for a 3-run homer, the 3rd of the day already for our Pirates, and the 7th of the season for Adell. Showing off why he's hitting at the top of the lineup against left-handed pitching here. He crushes this one. You can't leave him up that high against a man with that much power. That'll bring up Reynolds. Homered his last time out, this time going down swinging with the circle change outside the zone. Sweeney, that's going to get through the infield for another hit. Pirates not done yet here in the inning. Still just one gone. And now a runner on for David Young. This is hit deep to left field. That's going to get over the wall as well. Another home run for the Pirates. And the lead is extended. The Pirates have exploded here in the third inning and now hold a commanding 7-0 lead. I mean, I waited all this time for a matchup against Skubal here, and turns out he can't even make it through 3 innings against our squad. We had his number today. 4 home runs in 2 innings and a third. And the Cardinals already forced to go to the bullpen here, but that will finally end off the inning there as Jazz Chisholm unable to keep the momentum going, but the Pirates have broken this game wide open. Now plenty of run support for Paul Skenes going forward in this game. 3 homers in the inning. You'll love to see it. 6 runs scored. Top of the order back up for the Cardinals. This is gloved by Chisholm. Great reaction time. Smith has kind of been robbed of a couple of singles here. Hit him hard, but couldn't get it through the gaps. Mason Wynn. That's going to drop down in the outfield for a base hit. His second single of the game. He's got a little bit of a hitting streak going that he'll continue here in this one. Rengifo tagged on his way over to first. So now 2 gone, full count for Torkelson. This is just outside, low. The first walk allowed by Paul Skenes in the game. Another one gets by Jan. And it's going to advance the runners now. 2 in scoring position for Herrera. Grounds it to short, and Fink makes the throw. Once again, I mean, Skenes is allowing these guys on base at a fairly regular basis, but he's not allowing them to cross home plate. Keeping that clutch high. Robles nearly got another one to leave the park. Instead, he'll get it down for an automatic double. Triolo looking at the strike 3 low in the zone. 2-2 pitch for Fink. Already the top of the order back up for the Pirates. That didn't take long. He'll advance the runner to third with the ground out there. Joe Adell back up. Hit to right field and chase down for the out. No additional runs here for the Pirates in the third. Skenes already up north of 70 pitches here. Have to wonder how much longer he'll last here, but there's his 3rd strikeout of the game. Second time he's gotten O'Neill in this one. That'll bring up Jordan Walker. Inside, lifts it over to Robles, and another clean inning. This one the cleanest of them all, as he actually didn't allow any base runners for Paul Skenes. Reynolds gets one down for a base knock. Should be extra bases over to left field as it reaches the wall. A leadoff double for Brian Reynolds, his 12th of the season now. Sweeney 1 for 2. Pops one into foul territory, easily settling underneath it for the first out of this 5th inning. Pedro Ponce, yet to get his first MLB hit, has a chance here. Down 0-2, gets a breaking ball, left in the zone, and he crushes it for his first career home run. Also his first career hit and RBI. Pedro Ponce making a strong first impression here on his Pirates teammates. And the Pirates now lead 9-0 in this ball game. An absolute blowout happening before our eyes. That's the 5th home run of this game. You'll love to see it. Heading to the dugout now. Of course, going to get the silent treatment from his teammates before they come and congratulate him for an awesome career achievement there. Jazz Chisholm, one of the few guys that actually hasn't really gotten too involved in this game, which is rare. Jazz is usually one of our best performer in spotlight games, but not doing so well this time. As we head to the bottom of the 5th here, there's a quick look at where our pitching ranks across the board in the league. Top 5 in everything. You love to see it. Our pitching has been awesome so far to start this year. Skenes gets the 5th going with a pop fly into foul territory that Sweeney is able to handle with ease. Top of the order back up now. 1-2 pitch is going to force Smith to climb upstairs. But Skenes ends up with some shoulder soreness. Luckily, able to avoid any major injury here, but that will end his game. He was probably only going to be out there for one more out anyway. And his injury wouldn't force him to actually miss any starts, so we avoid anything serious. Get lucky there, and the Pirates come away with a major victory over the Cardinals here. Wouldn't shut him out. 10-2 would be the final score, as Hunter Barco would come in for the rest of the game and finish it out for Pittsburgh. Victorious in Game 1 of the series against the Cardinals, but I'm not done with this series quite yet. We've had 2 pitchers that have been heavy contributors towards us being top 5 in all those rankings I just showed a moment ago. One we watched a couple episodes ago make his MLB debut in Coyle, who actually leads the National League in WAR. And the other is Jared Jones, who is playing extremely well to start this season. You just saw what he's done in his last 3 starts. Getting this game going. There was some doubt about maybe Buford Kingman's speed out in left. Maybe wouldn't have gotten to that ball that Pedro Ponce did to start this game. But at the 2 spot, Mason Wynn blasts one deep to center field for his 10th home run of the season, showing some solid power up to this point for sure, and getting the Cardinals on the board. Luckily, we got a little bit of run support immediately in the top of the 1st from our Pirates offense. This one lifted from deep in the zone. That's going to almost leave the park. Ponce couldn't get to it. And it's in for a triple for Luis Rengifo. That's going to get Torkelson swinging on the curveball. Nice location there. Right on that outer edge for the first strikeout of the game for Jared. 0-2. Gets another strikeout swinging here from Herrera. Nice job by Jones there to not allow that runner at 3rd to cross. Both he and Skenes have such good pitching clutch that you just got to be confident in them. Even when they get some runners on base, they're not going to fall apart. Into the 2nd now. Jesus Sanchez gets a big hold of this one. Diving is Robles. Would have been an awesome play. But instead, it's another runner in scoring position for St. Louis. Not the start we were hoping for from Jared Jones. This might score the run. Jordan Walker with a single here, but the runner holds at 3rd. So we'll have to lean on Harrison Bader, who strikes out swinging. The fastball low. 2 outs acquired here. Can we get the 3rd? Josh Smith has been robbed of a couple hits I feel like so far in this episode. Not going to be robbed of one here. He's going to tie the game up 2 runs apiece. Mason Wynn inside on the hands and gloved by Sweeney to get out of the inning. Tied. Still 2 runs apiece as we get to the 3rd. Luis Rengifo tripled in the 1st. And now homers here in his 2nd at-bat and gives St. Louis the lead in the 3rd inning here. Was hoping to see more of Jared Jones' hot streak, but Cardinals offense, especially this top of the order, seem to have Jared Jones figured out today a bit. Torkelson 0 for 1, and he gets him again on the curveball for the 2nd time on the outside. He's getting some good strikeouts here, the 4th already so far. Sanchez to 3rd, and Chisholm makes the easy play. Can the offense come out and put some runs on the board? No, they can't. 3 straight scoreless from our offense, and so Jared Jones now trying to just keep it to a 1-run deficit. Gets Tyler O'Neill swinging. Now for Jordan Walker. Hit a single on his 1st at-bat, and this time grounds out to 1st. Sweeney making the nice play going to the ground. Bader, 1-2 pitch. That's going to get through the infield there, right up the middle. 2-out single for the Cardinals, bringing back Josh Smith, leadoff man, and that's a nice pitch. High and inside for strike 3. Look at Jared Jones. Keeps him scoreless here in the 4th. Another home run from Joe Adell, his 2nd so far of this game. In fact, he scored all 3 of our runs to tie this game up at 3 apiece here now into the 5th. Joe Adell having a really nice episode, going against a couple of lefties, which certainly helps in his case. Rengifo not going to get another hit here. I mean, if you had a single or a double, you'd be on cycle watch. Full count is just a little low on the slider. His 1st walk allowed. And that's actually going to be the end of the day for him as well. But I'm not done with this game yet. We have yet to see our big time free agent acquisition pitch yet. And now is that time. He's 16 for 18 on save opportunities this year. He gets another one now with the Pirates up 5-3. Gets Bader to hack at the slider for strike 3. It was one of my biggest points of worry last year was the closer spot. Really would like to be confident in that spot this year. And with pitches like that, you're certainly going to keep my confidence high that we can close out these ball games. What a beautifully placed slider. There. Trying to strike out the side. Now he's got Mason Wynn. Oh, 1-2, and the cutter upstairs. Gets him swinging, striking out the side, and closing out this ball game. That's a great first impression from our big-time free agent closer, Emmanuel Clase. He came into this game tied for 2nd in the NL for saves. This one will put him now tied for 1st place instead. That's going to bring us to the end of the month of May here. 38-21. We have taken 1st place over Milwaukee at this point, as they went, I believe, under 500 on the month. Before we talk about some stats, I do want to talk about the fact that I think we have a generational prospect in this class. Now, looking at his profile right here, he doesn't look like it. That's because I've only scouted him 2 weeks. I haven't spent that 3rd week on him. But I just wanted to take a moment to talk about how the game changed the way that generational prospects are generated in the game for the 2nd straight year, kind of nerfing the method that I put in my scouting video to help people, identify generational prospects. They're no longer, as you could see with Nick Herrera, who I do think is generational, they're no longer ranked MLB number 1 anymore. So I just wanted to kind of show you how I try and identify these players. So in my experience, they're generally top 20 still, and often top 15. I have heard that generational players can now be discovered, which is kind of insane, but I haven't seen that yet myself. But what you're looking for is when they're unscouted, their maximum potential is going to be 99, which was the case here for Nick Herrera. And their maximum overall is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 78 to 83, which is where generational players typically end up with their overalls being, because they're not lying to you about their gaps when they start anymore. So the gaps don't shift. That was a dead giveaway in the past. That's no longer the case anymore. But if you find somebody that is 18 or 19 years old, top 20-ish MLB rated, and with a max potential of 99 and a max overall between 78 and 83, you then click in their profile, and they'll have a height generally like over 6 feet, weight over 200 pounds. They're usually those, well-built players, these generational prospects. They're not these short kings, 5'8" players. And then you're looking just for a very well-rounded skill set offensively. Typically, if you've seen a lot of these generational players generated by the game, they're players that have these well-rounded skill sets, right? They don't have the very, very high ends, the guys that end up with like 90 contact or anything, but they also don't have any ratings that are all that low. Generally, contact's going to be in the 60s and the 70s here. Now, you have to consider here with Nick Herrera that he's currently being projected lower than he actually is, because the game will still lie to you when you start scouting them what their actual overall and potential is going to be. You have to get that third week to get it accurately. So consider everything's going to be about 4 higher than it shows right here. You're going to be seeing contact in the kind of the mid 60s up into the 70s. You're going to see the vision and discipline. Those are typically going to be anywhere from the low 50s up into the 60s. And then power can kind of sway based on position. If you're looking at guys that are shortstops or center fielders, sometimes their power is a little bit lower, more in the high 50s into the kind of mid 60s. Whereas positions like first baseman can even have their power as generational players reach into the low 80s. So power is kind of the swing spot, but you're never going to see anything that's going to start in like the 40s. That's never going to be the case for a generational player. And again, you're also never going to really see anything start in the 90s. So if it's looking like that, not going to be a generational player. Another giveaway that you could see is low stealing. Generational players just don't really have stealing. Defense kind of varies from position to position, but second baseman, as you can see with Nick Herrera, generally have pretty weak arms. And the higher importance defensive positions like shortstop, center field, etc., even catchers usually have fielding that's starting in the 70s. So Nick Herrera, I'm pretty sure, is generational. Now, one other previous giveaway was bonus demand. His is only 5.6. I think that's just a factor of them no longer being ranked MLB number 1 anymore, so their bonus demand has also dropped a bit. But it's not nearly as easy before you kind of have to see all the signs come together in one player and then pretty much hope that it's a generational player. I feel like the way that I'm seeing it, I'll get it right probably like 90% of the time, but I might occasionally get it off because sometimes there's just well-rounded players that aren't actually generational that are 18 years old, So that will happen, but we'll have to see come draft time if I was right about Nick Herrera being generational. But there's no dead giveaways anymore like there have been in previous games. I think that's a good change. It's a lot harder to identify them. It's still possible. Like I said, if you find all those keys and they all match a player, they're probably going to be generational probably 90% of the time. So we'll have to see if that ends up being the case for Nick Herrera. But let's go ahead and take a look at where the team is at. Paul Skenes' ERA has dropped below 4, so he's doing a bit better here. Billy Fink up to 14 home runs on the year. Let's see pace-wise where he is at compared to last year. He's getting a home run about one at-bat more frequently than he was last season. Clase here is up to 20 saves to just 2 blown saves. I thought he was awesome in the one time we've been able to watch him this season. I was trying to get more in this episode, more closing situations for Clase, but I guess the custom hop-ins, I created a custom hop-in like this to try and get another save situation, but it just didn't work, so we only got the one. Jazz Chisholm is once again playing awesome. He's continuing to hold that overall above his potential just because he's playing so well that the game can't bring him back down to his potential. In terms of his home run pace here, he's only at 13 at-bats per home run, which is even better than he's been in Pittsburgh, which is better than he's been for kind of the rest of his career. Jared Jones didn't have the best game when we watched, but still having a very strong season here, as is Mitch Keller as always. Brian Reynolds also continuing to play really well. His regression's kind of gotten back up here. David Yan getting some solid progression here, and he's been okay offensively for the squad. Robles, a little bit of a down tick compared to last year. Thomas Coyle, as a rookie, has been awesome. I think he is easily the favorite for Rookie of the Year as it stands right now, which would give us another great pick in next year's draft if that continues. Triolo, he's been solid, but I think it hasn't been good enough to keep us from trying out Termarr Johnson as second. And his limited at-bats so far in the majors, he's doing quite well. He's 867 OPS. He's just hitting better than Jared Triolo, so I kind of want to give him a chance here to be the full-time second baseman for next episode. And it's not, like I said, as much about Jared Triolo performing poorly as much as it is Termarr in his limited action impressing. And so I want to give him, he also has more, long-term upside, younger, and so I want to give him a shot here. If he doesn't perform, I'm very happy to just bring Triolo back into the lineup, but that's what we're going to do here heading into the month of June. Let's see how Pedro Ponce has done. He's up to 27 at-bats, still very small sample size, but he's hit another home run, and he is off to a really hot start to his career. So I think the move from Kingman, who's also hitting really well since being demoted back down to AAA, I think that's worked out so far for us. Joe Adell went from a cold streak to a hot streak here over the last couple of weeks and is up to double-digit home runs on the year. Let's take a look at our young bullpen. How are some of these young guys going? James Whelan doing really well. Bob Gomez, not terrible. We have Fernando Terrero doing okay. Richard Lynn, pretty awesome in his 23 innings. We have, and those are kind of the young guys that we have making their rookie seasons in the bullpen right now. That is our team update here at the end of May. We've got the division, a 6-game lead there, so it looks like we're going to be heavy favorites to win the division once again and make another playoff appearance. Hopefully, we can keep things rolling here as the season rolls along, but that's all I've got for the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back soon with another, and I'll see you then. Let's go Bucks.